morning everyone, and welcome to this Learn a Voice workshop. It was a real delight to coordinate this session as it celebrates not only the variety of provision that our members offer, with examples of study programmes, traineeships and apprenticeships, but it also celebrates the learners and hearing from them firsthand about their experiences and learner journeys. Each learner interview has been pre-recorded, so I was able to really put the learners at ease prior to the interview. They were all quite nervous before they started, but actually, as you will see, when we get talking, they were really able to open up about the experiences and how the training programs have helped them to progress their careers. Also, how they've risen above some of the challenges that they've encountered in their chosen careers. But that passion and enthusiasm really does shine through. So I hope you enjoy listening to them as much as I did interviewing them. Okay, so the first two learners that we're going to hear from are from SCL Education Group. SCL was founded in 1999 with 20 plus years experience in inspiring, engaging and educating communities across the UK. They are a leading provider of education through sport and workforce development, and are an Ofsted registered sports activities and childcare provider. They aim to utilise the power and principles of sport to inspire individuals into their education and learning to rapidly enhance their academic skills, mental toughness, emotional well-being and physical health in the aim to unlock their potential. And I think from these next two videos, you will certainly see that shine through. So our first interview is with Millie Strachan, who is on a study programme. Millie is the only female learner on the NCFE Level 3 Extended Diploma in Sport. Millie joined SCL after trialling sixth form, but she made the choice to join the academy with a view to gain experience and knowledge of the off-pitch side of sport. That was a concept that was very new to me. Millie films the games and provides social media photos and videos and uses a drone to connect to sport. So let's hear what Millie had to say. Hi Millie, Kate and Matt. It's great to see you all today. Thanks for joining me for this Learn a Voice session. It's really great to be speaking to you. So Millie, I understand that you are currently on a study programme at SCL and you're doing the NCFE Level 3 Extended Diploma in Sport. Is that right? Yeah. Brilliant. And I can see from your introduction that you trialled sixth form, but then switched to a study programme. So can you just tell me a little bit about what it was about the academy that you liked?
Yeah, so I went to sixth form and I lasted about a week. Well, I thought it was going to be different to what it was like at school because I didn't really like the pressure of exams and things at school. So I was looking for something where I could still get the higher education that I needed, but not by doing exams. And I work well like in more one-to-one and group and practical things, whereas I was interested in PE anyway. That's what inspired me to go there. So the sports side of it is what made me want to go there. And when I did A-level PE at my sixth form, there was not really much practical work to do, and that's what the main thing I wanted to do within the sport.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because you know, you've got to find what's right for you, haven't you, and what works for you. So it sounds like you have through, you know, trialing different things, but then finding something that you really like. And you've mentioned the off the pitch side of sport in the introduction, which sounds like a really interesting concept, and it's not really something that I've come across before. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I actually play two other sports. So I do netball and horse riding. But the main thing I was interested in is media within them sports. So like media within horse racing or media within the netball side of it. So when I went to the college, the main thing I wanted to do was like journalism. And then through doing things like coaching, when we had to, so I actually am the only girl at the college, which was a bit scary to start off with. So doing things like having to coach the boys' football sessions and things like that, I think made me a lot more confident to be able to then do things such as interviews with the boys about their football. And I've been working on things like walk-ons. So I've put I've learned how to put like a green screen behind them so it looks like they're walking on, and I've been doing like player profiles and things like that.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And it hasn't put you off just being the only girl on the course. That's fantastic.
It did to start off with, but it's fine now.
Oh, that's amazing. So can you tell me a little bit about the study? So what have you been learning about in the classroom that's helped you with the activities that you've just described? In the introduction, you mentioned filming, social media videos, that sort of thing. How's your studies helped you to do those things?
Yeah, so obviously like working in the groups with just the boys and things and having to present in front of the class, which I was really like scared of doing to start off with. By having to do them at least once a week, it's helped me to be more confident when I'm filming them, and now I can go on the pitch while they're playing football and video them. And then something else that I do is when they're playing games, I go to their games and set up some video in so that they can watch it back and analyse it.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, and I can imagine it's scary when you first have to get up and speak in front of people. But like you say, you do get used to it, don't you? And it becomes easier all the time.
Doing it quite a lot, I think, helps.
Definitely. Well, you're certainly coming across as confident on this interview. Great. Okay, so it says in your introduction that you use the Foundation's drone to connect to sport. So that's another interesting concept for me as well. I've not really had to play around with the drone. So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so when I first joined, I didn't think I'd be doing things like that. But when I got there, they said that they'd bought a drone, but they didn't have anyone that was qualified to fly it. So the idea was that they wanted to fly it over training sessions, so then they could watch them back and see what they were doing right and wrong. So it took me a few months, but I went online and found like a drone thing you have to do. So you get a certificate so that you can legally fly it. So I did that. So it was 50 questions you had to answer, and you had to get so many right to pass the test. So I can now legally fly the drone and video the boys' sessions so that they can analyse it afterwards.
Brilliant. It's quite a responsibility, isn't it? Flying something in the air, and I don't think I'd dare trust myself. Have you lost one, or have you managed to keep? Brilliant. Okay, so how have you found the support that you've received through the Foundation and your tutors?
Well, like I said, being the only girl, I probably needed a bit more support than others because I was nervous going in. And I think they've helped me definitely be more confident, because I wouldn't have done things like even this interview like when I first joined. And also with my education, because I wanted to push to get distinctions and things like that, I think that things like references and how to lay it all out properly is really helped, especially because in the future I want to look to go to uni. So because I was getting distinctions, Kate then said about doing references in my work. So that's what I've been doing in them to like push me to get better.
Brilliant. Oh, that sounds really, really good. Okay, so, well, you've just described this next question, I think, but you said that it was great to read that you're a high-level learner, and your tutors said you've done exceptionally well on your academic work. So what are your hopes and aspirations for the future other than uni? Do you know what you want to do kind of longer term after that?
Well, I want to be a sports presenter, so like on Sky Sports News and things like that. So I think being at a football college beforehand, although some of my family played football, I didn't really know like all the rules and stuff. So even just like watching the training, or the other week we had to analyse a professional playing football. And obviously because all the boys play football, we did it for football. So I've learned a lot more of the rules and stuff, which I think could help me because obviously like it's so popular. So that'd be one of the things that I'd be speaking about when doing presenting. So I think knowing the rules and how it all works has helped that.
Oh, it sounds amazing. And finally, what would you say to encourage any other young people that are thinking of taking the study programme route over kind of that academic route?
I'd say that if they didn't like the exam situations, or if they didn't like big classes where all you did was like do textbook work and things like that, then it's definitely something to do, because it makes you more confident, and you do a lot of group work and one-to-ones and things like that.
Oh, that's amazing. It really sounds like you're enjoying it. You know, you can really see that you're enjoying the course and you're learning loads from it, and, you know, developing your skills. So that's amazing. Thank you. And just coming on to, we've got Matt and Kate, who are Millie's tutors. Do you have any additional comments that you'd like to make on Millie's journey and the support that you've given her? So if we go to Matt first.
Yeah, so I don't work with Millie on a daily basis. I'm sort of the manager for the West Midlands, but it's great for me to see a student being able to come through the power of sport, come in and engage in our programs, do great and achieve distinctions. But for me, it's also as important that those social skills, those wider skills in terms of confidence and getting over fear such as anxiety, like Millie sort of spoke about, is great. And we've been able to provide that platform for Millie to grow and develop. And on my visits, it's great always to catch up with Millie. She's always very polite and honest, and you can see that she's really enthusiastic about completing her work, and the way she's took to the academy and deals in which could be a difficult situation with it being an all-boy environment. But it's great for our programs to showcase that, and hopefully that in the future we can encourage more girls to come into our programs of SCL and continue to develop. And I'm sure that Millie will be very successful in whatever career option that she takes next. So yeah, it's just been great to see her over this year.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thanks, Matt. And Kate?
Yeah, so obviously working every day with Mill, it's an absolute joy. I love the fact of having another female at the academy. It's great. But no, just back from like September, the way now that you will stand in front of the other class, and you're just so confident, and you're just so, I think you've increased your knowledge, which has made you more confident as well about what you're saying. And by then doing these player profiles with them, it's just fantastic to see, Mill. And I mean, academically, you are already a university standard. It's fantastic. And I do use Millie to help other students. She's fantastic at that as well. She's very, very calm, and it actually puts other students to relax and actually work through the problems that they have with their assignments and projects. So she's definitely one that I look to in the class to go and help others and or be my little support as well. It's just fantastic, and I think that we've got a good rapport, which really makes it work there. And I'm so glad that you did make the choice from sixth form to us.
Oh, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Oh, you're doing so great, Millie. It's so inspiring to hear your story about where you've come from, and, you know, where you want to take it later, and just to show that, you know, like I've said, that academic route's not for everybody, but actually you can achieve university by going through other pathways as well. So thank you so much for joining me today and talking about your experiences, and good luck for the future.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was the first learner there. That was Millie Strachan, who's studying towards a study programme. So thank you to Millie, and thank you as well to Matt Baker and Kate Page for their equally inspiring input at the end there. So the next learner that we are going to move on to is a learner called Luke Baker. So Luke has had a challenging upbringing. He currently lives in supported housing with no contact with his family. He did try mainstream education at college and a couple of other training providers before he found his position and settled at SCL. As you will hear from Luke, he's faced his own challenges with his learning and his confidence. However, he has shown that he can overcome that, and he's making a real go of his work placement with Gloucester Rugby Foundation. So we'll now move on to hear from Luke Baker, who's studying a traineeship again at SCL. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Luke, Mike and Vic. Thank you for joining me today. It's really great to be talking to you guys about Luke's traineeship. So I'm going to just ask you a series of questions, Luke. So I can see that from your introduction that you've tried different courses at college and different training providers before you joined this traineeship. So can you just tell me what it was about this course that made you decide to really give it a go?
There are many factors into giving this course a go. The first factor is it's very local to where I live. It makes it very easy to get to. Another factor is that it helps me learn more about people, about their sort of backgrounds, if they will. And yeah, it helps me to understand more about the individuals.
Brilliant. And it's important, isn't it, to get something nearby? You don't want to be travelling loads, to get to somewhere. So that's important as well. So I've been told that you've taken part in all the challenges that you've been set for you. So there's been some physical, some social, and some mental. So what's been your favourite type of challenge and why?
My favourite has been problem solving, and in that I like to help people out or advise people about certain things. So whether it be helping with maths, helping with English, or helping with the sports activities, it helps me become better as a kind of like teacher, and it helps them to understand more about what's been said and help them to understand it in their way, not in ours.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. How you kind of taken what you've learned and helping other people with that. It's great. So what have you been learning about in your classroom sessions, and how have your tutors supported you with that?
Tutors have helped me with one-to-one sessions. So say somebody's struggling to get something, for me, so I'm struggling to get something across or not understanding something. They'll go through something 5-6 times to make sure I've understood it, which for some people, like me, I'm a very slow learner. I take quite a while to learn and understand things. So having that thought of them willing to take the time to go through it multiple times to make sure I do understand it, that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody learns in different ways, don't they? I know, some things you need to keep going over, and that goes for anybody, even myself. Some things I can read it 5 times and still have to try and decipher a little bit. But okay, so that's about your studies. So I believe that you're on work experience with Gloucester Rugby Foundation. So what type of things have you been doing there?
I've recently been doing a wheelchair rugby. I've been recently doing wheelchair rugby in a primary school, and involving in that, I have been helping set up the equipment, how to put the equipment away, helps the individuals to put their gloves on, help them into the chairs, and just helped when needed.
Helping them so that they can carry out the activities.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, because it said in your intro as well that you've been getting involved in that and helping kind of with the coaching. So what do you do? What do you enjoy most about doing that?
The thing I enjoy most about the coaching is the just understanding of it. So if I was to watch something or analyze something, I'd enjoy that. So I understand what they try to do or how they try to overcome a problem.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And so with regards to kind of hopes and aspirations for the future, once you've finished your traineeship, is coaching the kind of direction that you want to go in, or have you got other thoughts?
Yeah, coaching is the main one, and if at all possible, I'd like to continue my kind of like journey here and become more involved in the sports coaching with the Gloucester Rugby Foundation. And that, again, going back to the helping people out, that'll also increase my confidence and help others become more confident in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And with the work experience that I'm doing, it will also show members of staff what I'm capable of doing and what also I need to learn, work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds brilliant, and it sounds like you're a good addition to the team there. So I'm sure they appreciate all your help and support with that. So finally, what would you say to encourage anybody else that was thinking about going down the traineeship route for the studies?
You've just got to try your best, and as best they can get it, because you're going to learn more if you turn up. even if you don't understand all of what's being said, as long as you turn up and try to do your best, you'll succeed. Whereas the people that don't turn up aren't going to be successful. And the tutors here are helpful. They also, as I said, they spend time with you, so they'll make you feel more comfortable here in this stadium, if you like, because not many people are from this area, so it'll be new to them. But if you get used to staff members, at least, you have some more comfort in the area you're in.
Oh, that sounds amazing. No, you sound like a really inspirational young lad. And you know, when you say that you might not understand everything, but you turn up and you participate, and that's the main thing, that you're there and you know you've got that right kind of work ethic as well. So that sounds absolutely amazing. So if I can just go to Vic and Mike. So how, you know, have you got any additional comments on how you supported Luke on his journey, and you know, sorry, any other comments that you wish to make on anything that Luke said? So if we go to Mike, because you're stuck with Luke.
Yeah, I think the key thing with the difference between the study program and the traineeships is that that employability factor, and giving young people an opportunity to, like Luke said, show what they can do for a fixed amount of time. And I say to our students is, when you're on that work experience, you're not guaranteed a job at the end of it, but you'll never ever find an opportunity to have a 15-week job interview as such, where you can show them what you're capable of and sort of grow into a team with the eye for employment. And Luke's been doing some great stuff with the foundation here, which is in a key element of what he understands. And similar to the previous interview with Millie, is that he does really struggle with confidence, and even sort of answering those questions there, I can see him you know, just not necessarily being able to express himself, but is expressing himself a lot better than where he would have been sort of 7 weeks ago. And so the growth that he's made there is massive, and even doing something like this is going to help support with that growth. And the traineeships have been highly successful with people going into numerous job roles in numerous activities throughout, whether it be sport, or we've got guys going into engineering, we've had guys going into just catering and employment with the club in terms of operations and working with the chef. So it's been really, really successful in giving young people an opportunity which they probably wouldn't have got if they just applied for that job role in the initial phase. So it's been fantastic to work with Luke, and we're really hoping that big things are coming, and that we can be part of his journey into some form of employment for him of what, you know, whatever he desires.
Absolutely, and from what you've said and what Luke said, I've got no doubts that you will go on to be hugely successful, Luke. So well done. And Vic, any other comments?
Yeah, I'm not directly Luke's tutor. I oversee the traineeships and traineeship manager, but it's just great to see the opportunities that the traineeships are giving these young people, mainly in Gloucester at the moment, but up and down the country as well, and the experiences they get from it. So, I mean, where else are they going to be able to work with different areas of coaching in terms of disabilities as well as able-bodied? So the experience and variety that Luke's going to get going into the industry is going to be massive. And it's just great that they can have some employability opportunity, especially in this current climate where there's not a lot going on, unfortunately. So just to have the opportunity to find some work for these young people, if they do well, is a big plus. And the confidence that you can see Luke from start to finish is great to see.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. Well, it sounds absolutely amazing. So I just want to say, you know, a huge thank you for joining me today, and it was great to hear about your journey, Luke, and you know, really good luck for the future. I think you'll be a huge success in whatever you choose to do.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Luke there talking about his traineeship. So thank you for that, Luke, and thanks to Vic Harry and Mike Hoult as well at SCL. So we're now going to move on to talk to two apprentices who've been put forward by Kasim Choudhry of the Bame Apprenticeship Network. So the Bame Apprenticeship Network is a community of Black, Asian, minority and ethnic apprentices, which aims to change the landscape of apprenticeships, empowering apprentices to develop personally and professionally, as well as champion change within the sector. It not only acts as an aid for apprenticeships, but also supports employers on their journey to making a meaningful difference to their diversity, equality and inclusion policy. So first off, we're going to talk to Saief Ahmed, and he did an apprenticeship in, he works in childcare. So he completed his childcare level 2 and 3, and he's now actually studying towards a degree. As you will hear, he has faced a lot of barriers, obstacles and stereotyping along the way, but with the support of his family, his friends and his colleagues, he's now thriving in the early years sector. I was quite surprised to hear from Saief that the only 2% of the workforce in early years is male, but I have absolutely no doubt that he is set about changing that with his awards, and he's also looking at writing a book to encourage more males into the sector. So we'll now hear from Saief. So welcome Saief and Kasim. It's great for you to be able to join me this morning to talk about Saif's learner journey as who started out as an apprentice. It's going to be really interesting to hear your feedback on your journey, particularly in the sector that you're working in. Yes. So in your introduction text that you sent over to me, you explained that you started your apprenticeship at level 2, you progressed on to level 3, and you're now studying towards a degree, which is amazing. Did you feel that the apprenticeship prepared you for studying at that higher level?
Apprenticeship gives you a platform to work alongside what you're learning. It gives you a sense of responsibility, determination, and also commitment, because you're actually involved into the practice. Although in a classroom, yes, you will learn these type of skills, but I think getting involved and seeing it gives you a sense of, okay, so that's this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to achieve it. It's just those type of things.
Yeah, so you're learning about the theory, but you're able to apply it in the actual in the actual setting. No, that's brilliant. And I can understand that it would have been very challenging, kind of tackling the demands of the work placement, the studies, during your apprenticeship. How did you manage your time around all of that?
Well, at the beginning, it felt like a lot of stereotypes involved, but I think the support system that I had from my colleagues, my friends, a few of my friends and my family also, including my parents. I think my parents always said, follow your heart, and that's why I always followed really, and that's the mentality I was and the work ethic that I go along with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important, isn't it?
It's like if you have the blessing of your parents, I don't think nothing else matters really. If you have that mentality and the work ethic, seeing my mother and my father work really hard for us to be prominent of society, I think that's what all that matters really.
Yeah, absolutely, and they want to see you happy and following something
exactly,
that you're don't they? So that's a valid point. So during the classroom sessions, what did you learn through those sessions, and how has that helped you in the kind of workplace element of your apprenticeship?
Well, from the studies that I have encountered, I use those texts that I've received and put them into practice. Now that I'm working in a forest school, which is a huge opportunity for me, because in the early years, childcare industry, forest schools are like a good platform to work in. And I think using theories like Maria Montessori, Levi-Otsky, those are the type of theories that we follow in the text that we studied to implement them into the practice.
Yeah, oh, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So how have your tutors, so you've already mentioned about you've got the support of your family and some of your friends. How have your tutors and colleagues supported you with the studies?
Well, I've received so much support from the work that I used to be in and now this one. I think after the Bame Apprenticeship Award finalized my position into the top category that I was in, it was an opportunity of doors opened for me just like that. And I believe that my colleagues, although helped me, I also helped myself to achieve what I always want to achieve.
Absolutely, that's important, isn't it? You've got to, like you've mentioned, that work ethic, and you're obviously very aware of that, and you do work hard to get where you have today. So you mentioned that you've encountered a few barriers and obstacles,
Yes.
stereotyping as a male working in childcare.
Yes.
So can you just explain a little bit more about that and how you've overcome those barriers?
I think at the beginning, when I came into the industry, it felt like a shock came into the career that I was wanting to do. It was a passion where my mom's a teacher, and after school, I would come to her classroom and teach the children, like reading a book, like The Hungry Caterpillar, at the age of 11. And then that was my passion grew. But the stereotype and discrimination that I faced was, it was kind of upsetting in a way, because God forbid nothing will ever happen. It's just, parents just need to be educated, and everybody needs to be educated that although it's people say it's a female's job, it's also a male job, because statistically it's only 2% of workforce are men, such as myself. And the place that I work at is me and another male that works here at the moment. So we're all hoping that it's all fully unisex for like males and females working alongside working with children, because also I feel like males will give more role models to other male little children, like how we act, how we talk, how we influence themselves into their later practice in their society.
Yeah.
And I also had a lot of support with my family, of course. And I think what I always say to myself in my mentality is, if you like it, then go for it. That's my 3F work motto: go for it.
Definitely, and it's quite surprising that it is only 2%, because that's quite low, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Hopefully with the work that you're doing and helping to promote that, then those numbers can increase.
Yes, I also been on the ITV News due to the award that I received, the Earliest Education Outstanding Award from the Earliest Care Industry, and I was the first male to achieve that in the whole of the UK.
That's amazing.
Alongside the Bame Apprenticeship Award finalist, and also appearing on the Pride of Britain social media platforms such as Instagram.
Amazing.
Yes.
It's such a good achievement for you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about the Bame Apprenticeship Award that you were finalist for. How did you feel when you were nominated for that?
Well, it was an honour at least to be considered for the award, but actually being shortlisted was an achievement in itself. But although I haven't won, I know that the winner of 2020 will carry on the memento. But also as a finalist, you get more opportunities as well as a winner. Like how I got my new job now is because of Bame Apprenticeship Award. And I put a link up on my LinkedIn profile, and that's how I got reached out to get a new job, which is the forest school that I work at now.
Amazing. It just goes to show, doesn't it, where that can kind of
yes. I also did a bit of mentoring with other apprentices who wants to follow earliest education sectors. There was this guy who wants to do early years degree level, and he didn't know where to go and who to go, and then he reached out to me. We did a Zoom meeting, and he is now into early years education now.
Wow, that's amazing. So
it's what I want to do. It's what I want to do is to help other people, and people are now coming up to LinkedIn to give me that want advice on what to do, how to apply it, how to approach yourself. Because I've been doing this for the last almost 6 years now, almost 5 to 6 years. I started in 2016 and it's now 2021.
Right. Well, it's a long time, isn't it?
A long time.
Definitely in a good place to be able to advise other people.
Yes.
And I see from your introduction that you sent me, you're writing a book on early years from a male perspective. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I'm doing draft moment since I'm very busy with my degree and also my job, but also on the sideline, I want to write a book because it's there's not much about apprenticeship out there. There's no documentaries, no newspaper articles, no books in any type of form. And I think that from a male perspective and a male terminology, using my passion and using what I've learned, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, put that in a book, and then I think that will encourage more people. But I think it's just, educating ourselves and educating that apprenticeship is still an education, because people think apprenticeship is for people who has no brain or anything like that. But I do have brains. I do a degree now. So it's just educating people, really, and the reflection approach to apprenticeship.
Yeah, and I think you've answered the next question, which was going to be, would you encourage other people to think about starting an apprenticeship as kind of that first step on the ladder into a career?
Yeah, it's firstly, I think coming to apprenticeship is like, it's like in college. You get a bit nervous, but then you learn to how to approach yourself, the professionalism you'll learn, the time management you'll learn, the policies and procedures you will learn. I think this being involved in a practice will help other people. Mm-hmm. And that's what my message is across is, get into it, and my three words are, go for it. What's stopping you? Yeah. Honestly, what is stopping you? Is it a friend that's stopping you? Is it your family members that's stopping you? Is it other people stopping you? But don't worry about them. Worry about yourself.
I like that. I like there's a way to end the interview. Definitely go for it. So just finally, I'd just like to come to Kasim. So do you have any additional comments that you would like to make on Saief's journey and the support that you've given him?
Well, I think, seeing Saief grow and hear about his journey, and just to learn, how the awards has just, had such a massive impact on his life. And, we say this every year, the awards is not just about the awards. It's about those journeys, those stories, the impact it has, the legacy it leaves with individuals. You can see I've got a bookshelf here, and one day I look forward to having Saif's book on that bookshelf, because, everyone has a book in them. Everyone has a story. And, I was speaking to Jane today about how did we even come to getting Saif on today's call. If I didn't know about Saif's journey and I didn't know all this information through him being a part of the Bame Apprenticeship Awards, we wouldn't be able to share this story. So for us, the awards are really important for organizations to actually learn more about the individuals as well. Mm-hmm. So I think, I'm loving the fact that Saif's been able to put himself on LinkedIn. So I'm guessing Saif took part in our LinkedIn training session that we did for all of our apprentices. And actually what we did was we encouraged them to network with each other. And it's really empowering to see that something so small as putting on a small webinar to use LinkedIn has now led to him finding a new job. It's now leading him onto a new career path. It's getting him a degree. It's just phenomenal, and it's heartwarming to see just how much we've been able to do just for one individual. Just this one scenario makes everything worth it. Yeah. And I'd love to have more stories like this in the coming years, to see just how much the support AELP gives to the awards, and what the awards has been able to achieve is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, well, that was brilliant. I've really enjoyed talking to you both. Thank you for giving up your time today, and good luck with the rest of your studies and your book and everything that you do in Saief. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Saief. Really enjoyed talking to Saief just about the challenges that he did face working as a male in a predominantly female sector. So it was great to get his take. So thank you for that, and thanks, Kasim, and we'll hear from Kasim after the next interview as well. So last interview is Dionne Alder. So Dionne is a highway technician currently employed with Southwark Council. So Dionne is an older apprentice, and she's got a child. So she's going to explain to us about the challenges she faced in managing and balancing the needs of her family with that of working and studying. Those challenges she was able to rise to with determination and perseverance, and also along with the support from her family, friends and colleagues. So we'll hear our final interview now, and then we'll have a summary. Okay, so hi Dionne and Kasim, thanks for joining me today just to talk through Dionne's journey as a highway technician with Southwark Council. Dionne, I can see from the introduction information that you sent over to me, you worked full-time attending 1 day per week while undertaking your apprenticeship. How did you kind of tackle that mix of on and off the job learning?
I mean, it is a challenge, especially working through a pandemic. It's been quite challenging to try and balance sort of work and study. You know, I was quite fortunate with my uni. They were quite quick to put online platforms in place, which really helped. And then my workplace were really good with, especially as I have a son, with understanding, you know, homeschooling. Yeah, they sent all the materials that I needed, like laptops and things, to be able to enable me to work from home. And then it was just about trying to fit in a routine where I could just to help my son, myself, and keep up my studies.
It's a lot to keep going at the same time, isn't it? So well done. Exactly. It sounds like you had all, you know, the full support of your employer as well, which is great. So
yeah, definitely.
It worked. And when you were learning about this kind of civil engineering in your classroom sessions, how has that helped you to progress your career in this sector? When you were doing the classroom training, did you know, how did you find that helped when you were out actually doing the job?
Oh yeah, so I mean, for the modules that we had, you know, not all are necessary. Not all are relevant to highway works, but you know, there are things that you can pick up in terms of project management, in terms of learning about materials, soil, so that all helps with my job.
Yeah, so you learned a real mix of things. Some of it was relevant, some of it not so much, but things that you can take away into the future for your career.
Yeah, definitely.
And how have the tutors and colleagues supported you with your studies? So you already mentioned about kind of equipment and things like that. Have you you know, had a lot of support from the tutors as well for the coursework that you needed to do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for the tutors, you know, they have sort of hundreds of students, but they have been absolutely brilliant in answering queries via email, via Teams. You know, they've been available, you know, outside of working hours. You know, they've really, you know, tried to send out information as soon as possible, so we're aware of what's going on. And as I said, the most important thing have been that they have been contactable, which has really helped, you know, to alleviate stress where, you know, there are, you know, there's barriers and you know, there's changes, you know, so they've really helped with that.
Yeah, and it's kind of the, you know, with an apprenticeship, that's one of the good things about it, that it is so flexible, isn't it?
Definitely.
So with your work at Southwark Council, what type of things have you been doing in the practical elements of your job?
Well, because I'm a highway technician, so I respond to emergencies. So sort of throughout the pandemic, I've had to go on site to attend emergencies. You know, I audit and I raise works as well. I also deal with residents, you know, with customers. So having to you know, call them back. Obviously, they're quite stressed with their personal, you know, situation. So that's been quite a challenge as well. I've just tried to be as understanding as I can, you know, considering the circumstance we're all in. Yeah, but it's quite a varied job. You know, I learn there's a lot of different aspects. As I said, there's a bit of that project management and talking to contractors and you know, learning about the materials and you know, so yeah, there's a lot to it.
And how have you found that, like, kind of working environment as a female working in that type of role? Do you tend to find that it's quite predominantly males, or is there a good mix?
Yeah, I mean, definitely with engineering, it is mostly male dominated. But I feel, you know, and I was worried when I first went into, you know, that environment that, you know, maybe I wouldn't be respected or taken seriously. But I find that, you know, when you demonstrate that you know what you're talking about and you show that bit of confidence, you know, then they just treat you as one of them. You know, there's no sort of issues, you know, and yeah, I think I've been treated really well. I get on really well, you know, with colleagues. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Sounds perfect. I see you were promoted in 2017, so congratulations, and you must have felt a real sense of achievement when that happened. How have you found the role different to your apprenticeship?
I think it's just more that you get more responsibility, because obviously on the apprenticeship scheme, you know, I was learning what each job role entailed, but I suppose when you get promoted, you actually have to do what you've been learning about. So, you know, I did have some opportunities to do that, do certain aspects as an apprentice, but obviously you know, there's things that you can't do unless you are employed. So it's just doing those extra things and having that extra responsibility.
Yeah, great. And finally, what would you say to encourage anybody else thinking about doing an apprenticeship to get them onto the career ladder?
I think it is a challenge, you know, because you're working and studying, but I think it is a brilliant opportunity, because I mean, you're getting a paid qualification as well as getting the experience. Because, you know, I've done courses in the past where, you know, I've got this wonderful qualification, then I've tried to get employed and they're like, oh, sorry, you don't have enough experience. So it's, you know, it's a great way of, you know, achieving both. It is hard work, so you do need to have the right attitude, you know, but once you take that opportunity, sorry, there's a noise outside. Yeah, you know, especially if you're passionate about what you're learning, I think you're more likely to succeed. And then you just have to, you know, use that determination to finish and complete what you're doing. But it's definitely a worthwhile opportunity.
Brilliant. It sounds like it's definitely worked out for yourself. It's been great to hear about your journey. So just finally, Kasim, do you have any additional comments you would like to make on Dionne's journey and the support that you've given her?
I think Dionne's a superstar. I think she's done really well. I think, you know, it's amazing to see mothers going out there, you know, having the stresses and pressures of being a mother, being a parent, having a child, and then to be able to study on top of that is phenomenal. So hats off to all the mothers who are out there doing their apprenticeships. You know, we see a lot of them. It's been fantastic to see, you know, a lot of throughout the awards, we've seen a lot of ladies in recent years who have taken maternity leave, been out of work for a couple of years, but actually are using the apprenticeship route to get back into work and get that experience, because every time they're trying to get a job, as Dionne said, they're being knocked back for not having experience or being out of work for too long. You know, we know recruiters don't like long gaps in employment because they get put off by it, but they don't realize that these inspirational women have been raising a family. So you can't get any better experience than that. You can't get better management skills, better organization skills. Trust me, I struggle to take my son swimming because I can't organize the kit we need to do that. So, you know, hats off to them all. And, you know, Dionne, true inspiration for so many women out there who are probably thinking about, how do we get back into work? How can we, you know, get our lives back effectively? I'm sure it feels quite liberating for your good self to you know, be able to go into work and have all these people that work under you, and to finally be able to be in your own space and hold your own in a different environment to being at home. So, you know, really, really positive to see these kind of things, and I'd love to see a lot more of it.
Absolutely. I think that sums it up nicely. Thank you, Dionne, and thank you, Kasim. It was really lovely speaking to you about your learner journey, and just really good luck for the future, Dionne. It sounds like you're doing amazing, and keep that passion and, you know, wanting to learn more and getting stuck in alive. Really, really good. So that was the final video there, and I think what a note to end on. I really enjoyed, speaking to those learners. As I said, it was an absolute delight. They're just so enthusiastic, inspirational, and I did come away from those interviews really, with that glow, because after all, that is what we're here for. We're here to encourage people into careers, no matter what the starting point is, be that a study programme, a traineeship, an apprenticeship, or a different route. It doesn't matter, as long as people succeed in their career and follow the dreams. So I really hope you've enjoyed each of those stories. Each one of those learners should be immensely proud on their achievements, and I wish them all the very best for the future. I'm sure they'll be very bright. So thank you to Millie, Luke, Saief and Dionne, and also thank you to the provider staff at SCL and Kasim of the Bame Apprenticeship Network, who helped to make those arrangements possible.